Record to cloud. Okay, now it's recording. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the SuperEZ. Real quick to kind of respond to something Dorian just said is, whenever you guys are having a problem with your MT4, what I do is I make sure first and foremost I log into more than one broker on each MT4. Like this isn't my main one. This is one I just use for trading. Like on my actual MT4s, I have all of my live accounts on each different platform that I use. This way, if one of them is ever freezing and you're having that knee-jerk moment where like, oh my gosh, it's moving or news is coming out and you got to get to it and your phone is not the best way to do it, like your best bet is to log into, even if this is like a AAFX MT4 platform, log into your Hugo's Way, log into your FX Glory, log into your, AAFX account, all of them on this other platform. And the second thing that you guys can always do to make sure that you're kind of keeping it super easy is if you go here, you can actually right click and save. So you can copy all this information and then you can save it to like a file on your computer, or better yet, your Google Drive would be best, and save it to a file. So all your templates would be there. And then again, same concept, when you come in here and you go to your indicators, open data folder, let's see, empty, double click, you can do all of your indicators, your presets, you can literally copy all of this. And then worst case scenario, if you ever have a computer crash or whatever happens, like you can access all of your same tools, all of your same indicators, and your accounts just in case there's a problem. Like if you're gonna be trading as a career, those are just some of those tips and tricks that may be really helpful. So, Dorian, did you get that figured out? So you have a new broker now, right? Or a new platform, right?
Yeah, I have. I've had the FX voice. I switched everything over to the Hugo's Way and the AAFX, but I didn't know that you could log into the other brokers on the one platform. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
No, you're welcome. Yes, definitely on every platform, because AAFX is my favorite high leverage broker, but they're my least favorite. Wow, I can't talk. Favorite platform. So like I will definitely log into all of them just in case something happens. And how you do that is if you go here, go to open an account, and I had to tell somebody that today. So for instance, if I wanted to add Hugo's Way, I have to type in Hugo's Way.
Okay.
Okay. Scan is going to scan for those specific brokers. And there we go. So now we've got demo and real on there. Okay.
Okay, this is just like the app then, because I did the same thing with the MT4 app.
Yeah, it's the same concept. Like, but now that they're an option, then you would come over here and log into a trade account. And now that you have that kind of loaded up, you see how those are part of the drop-down menu?
Yes.
And then you type in your username and password. And it works almost with every broker on every platform. There are some of them that get a little picky, but for the most part, every broker, every platform.
So if I have, let's say I have my chart set up with the AAFX, right? And
like
I have
templates and your indicators, right?
Yeah, I have my templates saved, I have my indicators, and I have my presets. That would apply to the other brokers once I log into the other brokers on the same platform. So I don't have to like copy 4 different data folders for each broker.
No, so that's a separate entity. So you're still going to need to copy the data, which is still what you've been doing it, manually. But that basically says, hey, what if something happens, like maybe this one's freezing up or it's really slow, there's an update, or just sometimes, like for a while, Hugo's Way platform was having problems. And then AAFX was having problems, and then CoinEx. Like just in case the platform is having problems, it's not an issue with the broker. Usually it's the platform. Then you can still log into your live account on a different platform that also has all of your templates and tools and presets all saved.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I do it.
I got a question for the AAFX.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
As far as because I know I have an account with Hugo's Way and Trader's Way, but all of them they're transferring everything to Bitcoin. Is AAFX the same, or is that just a regular debit card deposit?
Oh, well, first off, it depends on where you live. And just so you guys know what's coming, because of the federal, and I'm not a financial expert, obviously everything I say can and will be used for educational purposes only. So having said that, because there's so much there's a lot of big money currently in crypto, so there's a lot of news going on around how they're finding a way to tax it, track it, and what have you. So having said that, a lot of the big brokers, many of them are going to only be going to crypto. So if you're having issues with that, it's probably not something that's going to go away with any broker. In fact, I would plan on most brokers doing that. And the reason is because it keeps it all kind of in a way that the government can do what they need to do to, be the boss. So currently with AFX, if you live in the United States, I believe the only option is Bitcoin. It used to be when I first signed on, they had Skrill, which I thought was fantastic, but the government shut that down. So the government no longer allows the United States to participate in Skrill because they can't track it. They can't, where the money goes and da-da-da-da-da. So, because as you guys know, any transaction.
I was having issues with it. Because I said I was having issues with it because I guess certain Bitcoin authorized, they weren't based in the United States. They were based in the UK. So anytime you input your card information, it's automatically flagged and your card's frozen.
Yep.
So it's like I'm trying to trade, make some money, but I can't get past that point. So like right now I'm working on Awanda's platform, and I've been sticking with that one, but I haven't been able to find another way around it.
Well, the only problem with Awanda, in my opinion, they're a very long-standing and tried-and-true broker. I would highly recommend them if they had better leverage.
Right.
But their leverage makes it to where you're almost better off just driving for Uber, because the amount of, you'd have to have like 5 to 10 grand in there to make any real money. And that to me is just silly. So, but for those who have it, I mean, more power to you, but most people didn't have 10 grand. A lot of people didn't have 10 grand to play with. So,
right.
Just so you guys know, again, I'm not your tax advisor, but any transaction that you can keep below $10,000 usually gets skipped by the flags for the IRS. So if you're smart, you'll get really good at maneuvering your own money. And when you make transfers in and out of your broker accounts, just simply keep them at that $9,500-ish range, plus they'll take out some fees and all that stuff. So you're less likely to get flagged. And I think for most banks, you have to do that 4 times in a month for transactions less than $10,000 to get flagged. But again, I'm not your financial advisor, so you need to talk to an actual accountant to figure all that out. So.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome. All right, guys, well, first and foremost, are there any questions? I want to open up my Telegram. I know somebody had sent me like some massively long questions.
This is Srivatsan. I sent you about 8 questions and 3 pictures.
That's what I was thinking of. Let me see if I can find your name. This guy sent me like books of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, get on a call because I can't. Anyways, let's see. So number 1, do we maintain a trade journal? If so, any template or important headers? And all your questions say a lot about where you're going, and you're clearly on a really good path. So you definitely are an attention to detail kind of gentleman, and that will work exponentially well. So should you keep a trade journal? In short, absolutely. Most of us, if we're being honest, I do know a few people who wing it and they do okay, they do well. But most of us who have like went from that, winning and losing streak to finally consistently winning, they have done so because they have kept a trade journal. And the things that you're going to want to have in there are the trade you took, right? Obviously the pair, the time frame you took it on, okay, the rules that you took it because. So like this isn't a good template to show you on, but let's go to one of my other templates. Here we go. So like let's say this met 9 out of 10 of my rules or 13 out of 15 of my rules, right? I'm going to want to know that. I'm going to want to know if there was news. I'm going to want to know when I entered, as in the time I entered, and when I exited, or like what my exit method was. So if my exit method was it hit my stop loss, I want to know that. If my exit method was my trailing stop kicked in, I want to know that. And as you get really good at this information, you're going to have data. And with data, if you guys could just really grasp your head around this, Google is a bajillion-dollar company because they literally buy and sell data. Well, they don't buy it. They typically take it. No pun intended, but everything you do on your phones, on your devices, your Alexas, and your free Google Drive and Google, Cloud and Google Photos, which most of us use, they take all that information and they use it. The data you're going to get from this little trade journal is potentially life-changing, because with that data, you'll be able to know how to improve your accuracy. And a 5 to 10% accuracy difference can literally make you a millionaire this year. Like, that's not stuff, that's not some empty promise. That's like something I have done personally, and other people I know have personally done. Like, they went from nothing to, oh my gosh, results in a very, very small amount of time. So the information, go ahead.
To start with, we'll put this following headers, pair, time frame rules that we took: entry, exit time, the entry method, and exit method. Yeah.
Yep. And then, like, what I also did in terms of my trade journal was I kept a little note, like a little, and I got really messy with it. So I had that little note section next to it, and it would say something like possible head and shoulders, or double top, or triple arrows. So for instance, like with the swing trade method on the triple arrows, I would be able to say, you know, triple arrows was on the 30-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. And that's when I figured out that the trades I took against the 4 hour were the most high likelihood of losing. So once I learned that, I was like, oh, okay. And I stopped going against the 4 hour, because I was a highly supportive advocate of, I don't need anything but the 1 hour. I was that girl. And it turned out, I mean, I did well, but I was wrong. So let's see your next question, because you wrote me a book. So let's see, but thank you for hopping on. How do you record or know which trade we have taken and using which method?
Yes, you said that you will record it in the trade journal.
The best method is my FX book, and most people don't like raw data like that, and it's very difficult for most of us to learn at first. But the best method and the most accurate method, you don't have to share it with anybody, it can just be for you, is my FX book. You link it to your account, and they'll tell you like how many of your sells won versus your buys. They'll tell you, you know, your winning pairs versus your losing pairs. They'll tell you, it gives you an insane amount of data. So the best and most accurate way to do that, we also have an app, not an app, but an indicator. I can see if I can drop it in the group. It's reasonably accurate enough. It'll tell you your overall net gain of pips per week and per month. But that's kind of, it's really beautiful, like, to see it. But the truth is, it doesn't have enough information for it to matter. So it's just one of those things that eats up a lot of your computer space and your memory and your CPUs, and doesn't give you that much information. So that's why we don't really recommend that anymore.
Okay.
But my FX book is the best way. And of course, I have literally an old-fashioned, it's not that old-fashioned, but a comp book, you know, with a pretty little message on the front of it. But I have a comp book that says, you know, this is the trades I'm looking at, my watch list for the week. This is what they did. These are the ones I took. And it's messy. It's hard to read it. For a long time, I was posting pictures of it every week. But the thing is I can tell that whether I took these trades or not, this system with my rules, and you add any kind of a currency strength indicator, on average, you should not be getting less than 70, 80%. I mean, that should be your starting ratio. And as you tweak it with slightly finer tuned rules, you should be able to get to the 80s and hopefully the 90th percentile in terms of accuracy. And with a good risk to reward ratio, there's no reason you shouldn't be highly profitable with an 80% accuracy ratio. No reason at all. Okay, so which is the best strategy to start with? I wish to spend a certain amount of time in front of MT4 and not the full day and night. There's a lot of us in the group who have confirmed, surpassed 6 figures. And what I can tell you consistently from the people who I've worked with closely, the ones who are consistently compounding their account, they are primarily only using the 4 hour. And I was reluctant to use it because in my mind, I felt like I was missing the move, or I was taking a late entry, or like there wasn't enough opportunities. In my mind, like I had convinced myself that it wasn't best for me because I didn't have a full-time job and I had more time, so I can make more money and I can do it my way. But I can tell you firsthand, the reality is the 4 hour chart has made me by far the most amount of money of any strategy. So
that's a Stair Masters?
I'm sorry?
Stair Master?
Now to answer the second part of your question, sorry, I'm going through them. You wrote a whole bunch. So the second part of your question is which strategy? That's personal preference, and I don't want to answer that for you.
Okay.
In my opinion, and I think that most people would agree, is at the end of the day, we have to find our own way. And then you can have me and Pat and tons of information tell you amazing things. And most of it will be pretty good, and most of it will be pretty valuable. But at the end of the day, guy, your eye needs to see it. Like, you need to see when we tell you it's a Stairmaster. So let's go to this chart. Okay, when we tell you this, the daily dots are pointing down, and then we have 4-hour support, which is my purple ones. Take it for a sell. We have 4-hour support. Take it for a sell. 4-hour. Take it for a sell. 4-hour. Take it for a sell up until you get new daily dots, right? And or same concept with the triple arrows. So I'm going to come here. So we have our. This was a short one. Let me scoot over. I'll close this real quick. So we have our triple arrows. It's a little messy and zoomed out. But then we have, again, this would be a Stairmaster. This would be a Stairmaster. This would be a Stairmaster. This is a really good one because that's the daily dots in the same direction as the trade 4-hour triple arrows. So same concept. This is what a Stairmaster looks like. And if you're asking me the highest accuracy ratio, to me, it would be the Stairmaster. That's it for me. But I know people who have had a higher success rate with just the 4-hour swing trade method. So it depends on what kind of trader you are and who you want to be. So you can kind of take it one of two ways. If I were to recommend the best strategy, it would be the 4-hour triple arrows, and you would stack it once or twice up until you're savvy enough to stack it more times. And you can re-enter. You should have a set of re-entry rules as part of your trading plan. 1 minute, guys. Yes, young man? Well, honey, go play some basketball with Rosie. Please, thank you. Let me off the store, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. So, but yeah, you would take this, and you would need to have a set of rules for re-entry, and that would be like your Stairmaster, and that would be part of your trading plan. You could do, I would combine them if it was me. I would do the triple arrows and then everything that was in the same direction, such as my daily dots. I trade very heavily off the daily dots, even more so maybe than the triple arrows, because I just find them to be extremely accurate. This is a different version. I don't care for it as much as the yellow ones. I was kind of surprised at how it worked, but either way, Pat and I are going to talk about that tomorrow. So that's the most accurate to me, is always just take the trades in line with the 4-hour. If you have the time and you have the patience, you can definitely make sure it lines up on the 1-hour. Although if you are confident in your trade direction and you're only trading with the daily dots, then for the most part, you should be pretty solid. I mean, you're going to lose some trades. You know, Donald Trump can tweet something, but other than that, you're going to be pretty accurate. Okay, let me see your next question. When you explain in the videos, you mentioned trade in the direction of the trend. You agree. Now, which time frame can we see the trend, and what, hold on, can we see the trend to take with which type of strategy? So again, your questions are super in-depth, and that's awesome. So let's go to a new chart. I'm going to right-click. Let's see. Go to my indicators file. I'm going to take off everything. Okay. Here's my in short answer for the trend. Okay. When I first started trading, I was with IML. And I got a chance to work with some amazing people. And as you know, if you know the company, you get, you know, class access to a lot of really awesome traders. But the one question I had, well, there was a couple more accurately, but one of the questions I had that could never get answered was, how do you decide the trend? And especially like in IML, most people would not answer that. Whether they could or not, I never really stuck around long enough to find out. I mean, I did stick around, but I didn't know the answer. But no one ever gave me an answer. So I Googled it tons. I have asked 1,000 people, and maybe there's a better way, maybe there's not. But for me, the banks use the 50 moving average heavily. Okay. And as we talk about in the group, the entire Ichimoku cloud is based off of the 50 EMA. It's actually the 52. And it's slightly weighted and makes it kind of chunky at some spots and thin at other spots. So now that you have that information and that story, I decide the trend like this. If it is below the 50 on the 1 hour, I consider that a downward trending market. If it is above the 50 on the 1 hour, I consider that a downward trending market.
Excellent.
Is it a snake? Oh my gosh, oh wow. So that's just how I kind of do that. Now you see areas like this, it's consolidating. okay? I would stay out of it. For the most part, like that's how I decided the trend. And if we take off that 50 moving average, you should be able to see nakedly this market is going what direction.
Down.
So we're gonna get, wow, that was weird. We're gonna get triple arrows probably right there. Let's see. The odds are we got triple arrows right here. But until we break the trend, I'm gonna move it a little closer. Like, see how we didn't break the trend line till here? The odds are we had triple arrows here and here and here. But until we break that trend, I'm not taking the trade until we break the trend. And then we retest it, and then it'll take off. Same concept. You can draw the trend line. This has been a pretty smooth running pair, so it's a little unfair. But the same concept. If it's above the 50, I consider that a buy. If it's below the 50, I consider that a seller's market. To me, that is how I define trading with the trend. And I think that it's kind of in line enough with the big banks. It's in line enough with a lot of different schools of thought, and it has worked for me. So that's how I decide the trend.
Okay. Great.
Does that answer the question so far? I know there's more.
It did answer the question, but my sub-question on that is, if you look at this H1, currently it is on downtrend. But if you go to D1, will it be on the downtrend or will it be a sideways? It's on downtrend. Okay.
Well, again, here, then that's the problem, guys. And I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers. I don't. And for somebody who trades the day chart, I can understand them using the day chart to decide the trend. But since most of us are intraday traders, meaning we trade off the 4 hour or the 1 hour at the highest, I mean, consistently trade. I don't mean like, hey, we're trying out the 1 day this week and we're going to see how it goes. I mean, like, I've consistently created an income with our trading based off trading a certain way. So for those people, I'm sure that would work just fine. But for me, the 4 hours is a little bit too much, and it's out of my league. Maybe it's out of my patience and my willingness to participate and trade this long. I'm just not there mentally yet. So
okay, I will stick on with the 4 hours. That's fine. That's what my plan is.
You can stick on the 4 hour too, and you can decide on the 4 hour. But how I determine the trend personally is I use the 1 hour to decide which way the trend is going above or below the 50.
Okay.
And that's just me. And I think that works for me. And if we click around, that's just it. If we click from the 15-minute to the day one, and now we've got all this different stories, and we can't decide what the market's doing. We're confused and we're lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a consistent answer that I could use consistently, because if you don't have a consistent set of guidelines, you can't get consistent results.
Correct. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. Okay, so your next question.
Hope I'm not taking all your webinar time for this.
No, you're totally fine. I said, hey, if you jump on the call, I will answer them. I've gotten much better at saying that in messages because I can't answer all the messages. So let's see. Which session is best to trade to work? I heard Pat say New York. If so, how many hours before one can start monitoring the platform? Where do you live?
Pacific time.
Pacific.
California.
Okay, so that's really early your time.
I'm already up by 2:30. I'm in the desk by 3 o'clock every day.
Okay, then you're good. I think most traders and most people would universally agree that the best time to trade for those who live in areas where it's, available would be London. London has the most volume, and volume is where we make money. So we make money on the moves, whether it be the pullback or the trend move, and London has the most money. But for most of us who have lived in New York or lived in the US, we can say we tried London and it just messed up our lifestyles. So I usually trade late London and early New York, and I've been pretty successful with that. So what time that is for you? Let's see, that's 4 a.m. would be 6 a.m. Or my time is 5 a.m. So by 5 a.m., if the US doesn't have news, you can be looking for trades at 5 a.m. You just the key to that is don't go taking USD pairs when you know that there's going to be a bunch of news coming out. Don't go taking any pairs during any time of the day. But you can look for trades at 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time. You can do that. You can trade almost any time of the day. Just avoid swap fees, which is at the end of the market. That's 2 p.m. your time. And so if you're not swinging to avoid swap fees, you want to close out your trades before then. And you can pick your pairs early New York, late London. Okay, let's see. Next question. I'm sure other people are learning from this too, so it's good. On the Stairmaster, once we get off the trade, and if we need to re-enter, what are the steps to take? So again, that's the good question. That's probably one of the best questions. So let's go to that template. So that's not it. I apologize. So here we go. We've got triple arrows, and maybe we had a trailing stop or something, or we had moved our stop into profit and we got knocked out of the trade. But it continues trending down, and we want to catch some of this move until this next arrow appears. So you can create a set of rules. It would essentially be the same thing. So if you have 15 confirmations to take the trade in the first place, you can say, okay, well, I have 10 confirmations in order to take a re-entry. And the reason why it's less, obviously, is because you're no longer looking for the 3 arrows, but you are looking for confluence. And what that confluence can include, first and foremost, it has to be, it has to be in line with the indicators on your chart. But just to give you an idea, you had 15-ish, rules that you could follow here. So let's go to this trade right here. I would say I need X amount of confirmations before I re-enter. My favorite would be the daily dots, but I'm not going with that. So we're going to say we're in the same direction as the triple arrow, counts as 1. We have daily support still, counts as 2. We have new 4-hour support, counts as 3 for a sell. We're below the 50, counts as 5. 8 and 18 kind of crossed but rejected. That would count as 6 for me. And of course, price is below the 8, which I really like. That's 7. I wouldn't be able to enter it until it crossed on my ADX over here, but this would be 8, right? Momentum would be facing up, and we have a crossover. I would need my currency strength to line up, and I'd want, so you see this came back up and retested the 0. This is a strong move. This is definitely trending down. Everyone's afraid of this move because they're afraid it's going to come back up. When it comes back to the 0 line on the MACD and then has a clean crossover, you've definitely got a move coming. It doesn't mean it's forever. It just means you've got some move. That's all. So either way, I'd have about 11 confirmations, give or take. You can also say that if it breaks a lower low, that counts as 1. Same concept with drawing a trend line. And this is the last thing I'll show you. But essentially, you're just going to create an extra set of rules. So this is trending down, right? How am I going to do this? This made a flag. Or Pat calls it a slant pattern. The actual name is a flag. No, I don't see them that well, but that is what they're called. So going down, and we make a flag, okay? That's fantastic. So it comes back up and it touches this trend line. Well, we don't know that's a trend line because we don't know where price stopped at this point, but here, here, and here, right? When price breaks below this little flag part, that would count as another confirmation. Also, when price breaks below and makes a lower low. Wow, I've never done that before. Hold on. I have no idea what I just did. That was strange. Huh. I don't know how I did that, you guys. But anyways, when price broke below this low right here, that counts as another confirmation. So now I've got all those pieces of evidence saying it's still trending, and those are the rules I'd be looking for when taking a re-entry, aka a Stairmaster move.
Okay.
Does that answer that question?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. This is really easy when you guys just get it. How many times a day can you check for the triple arrow system? So if you're using the 4-hour chart, technically you can check 6 times a day, because the 4-hour chart will happen 6 times a day. You'll get a new candle 6 times a day. For most of us, we can check 2 or 3 times if we're super obsessed or bored. It doesn't really take me long. So it might take me a total of 15, 30 minutes, but this new candle will form every 4 hours. So at this spot right here, I'm below, I had a crossover, I've got daily support, I broke below the 50, I made a lower low, and now I'm going down. So that's what I would be doing.
Okay.
4 times a day, 15 minutes or less.
Right.
We'll take a look at that, Justin. And let's see, I think you have one more question.
Oh, I have one.
Go ahead. Who's AJ? Go ahead.
I was looking at the swing trade method as far as like entry points for the 30-minute and the 1 hour. But I was trying to figure out like when in the triple arrow system do you actually exit? Is it in the same time frame or is it in the other time frames of the confirmations?
So when to exit the trade?
Yeah, when do you exit a swing trade as far as the triple arrow system? In the same entry or is it something else?
Well, that's the best question. It depends on if you're going to be a swing trader or a scalp. So, for instance, if you took this as a swing trade, you're on the 4-hour chart, right? Okay. You have triple arrows come in. You have a crossover, broke your 50. I mean, you've got a really confirmed move right here, right? This is good. Everything lines up times 10. So you can exit either by A, it'll hit your take profit, or B, it's going to hit your trailing stop. So like it was coming down and then it came up like so. Your trailing stop knocked you out. C, you can let it keep running until you get like daily dots, and that's what I would do personally. D, you can let it keep running until you get fully confirmed triple arrows, but bear in mind the arrows can repaint. So there could have been triple arrows here and here and here. So in theory, you would have been closing at the next triple arrows anyways. But the best answer, if you're asking me, is to hold this until you have hit daily dots or to let it run. I mean, you should have one that has a take profit and then one that runs.
Okay. So in the same time frame that I enter the trade.
Yeah, for me, because if you're clicking around, so the 15-minute on this one move down probably told us to buy a dozen times, if not more.
Right.
On this one move. I mean, if not more. I mean, I can't confirm that, but I'm pretty confident to say we had 15-minute buys a dozen times. So if you're trying to get out on the smaller time frame, you're going to miss the big move. You'll get guaranteed pips, so it'll be less. You'll have to look for more trades, and you're going to miss the big move.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I think the last question was the stop loss is mostly far, so say 60 or 7 pips. What do we do? Okay, so your last question, sir, was about, hi?
I think you answered that. I kind of got that idea. Probably we can go just above the purple dots, or once all the confirmation is done, then we can go above the recent arrow.
Yeah, so like you don't have to, if you took this trade, you can put it here with the daily dots, or you can put it here with the 4-hour support. But the thing is, try to keep your stop loss no bigger than your first take profit. So you should have a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio minimum. And by doing that, your accuracy ratio can be in the 60th percentile and still be profitable.
If you leave the first purple dot on this on the right hand side of your vertical line on the crosshair, if you enter on the third one, then the stop loss will be very high, isn't it? That's the first purple dot after the triple arrow.
Well, this is a GBP pair, so this one moves pretty fast. And could it be high? Absolutely. Yeah. But compared to this, that is not high. So you're talking about a 70 pip stop loss, which I'm not an advocate of having like super big stop losses, but 70 pips to 400, let's just round it down, is nothing.
Okay.
I mean, so you have to realize what you're thinking about. None of us like having a huge stop loss, but I like having higher accuracy rather than a tighter stop loss. I like having higher accuracy rather than, how do I say that in the best way? I don't know. I'd rather take the confirmed move with a lot less likelihood of hitting the stop loss than the faster move with a tighter stop loss that gets hit more often.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did answer my question. Even we can reduce a lot size if the stop loss is too big.
Well, yeah, because your lot size should be determined by your stop loss if you're trading on your basic account. If you're compounding, that's a little bit different because you're going high risk intentionally.
Okay, got it.
Hello, Jenny. Hi.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. How can I help you?
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what time the market opens for the Asian session. I live in Toronto, and it opens at 9 a.m. for in Toronto for the New York session. But like for some reason, when I go to the market at 9 p.m., I feel like I missed something. Like for the Asian session. So I'm trying to figure out, is it does it open at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.?
That's okay. What time is it there right now?
It's 9:07.
He's on the East Coast.
So it's 9
Yeah,
p.m., right? So,
yeah, 9:07.
well, first up, what you should know is that the Asian market only has, I don't know exactly how much, but the Asian market has a very, very small amount of money running through it. Whereas, like most of the money, like we were just talking about, is through London and New York. So Asia doesn't have a lot of money, so it's not like you're missing the move. It's just more like there's not much of a move during the Asian to begin with. So secondly, here's what time it is. Ready? 5 p.m. your time. If you're Eastern time zone, and I'm pretty sure you are, on the East Coast time zone at 5 p.m., that's what time Asian market opens, okay? London opens for you at 9 a.m. Oh, no, sorry. New York opens at 9 a.m. and London opens at 1 a.m. your time. So that's 5 p.m.
It opens at 5, not 8.
If you go to sorry Jenny, if you download FX hours, it cleanly gives the opening and opened sessions and closed sessions and closed markets.
Exactly. So download. There's several free apps. One of them is FX hours that will tell you what time it opens. So Asian session opens at 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's correct. London will open at 1 a.m. your time, and then New York will open at 9 a.m. your time.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just asking because I've been looking at the chart and it seems like it starts moving around 8 p.m.
I think that there are moves around 8 p.m. I definitely think that is the case. But you're not asking what time the moves happen. You're asking what time the market opens.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to figure out what time the moves start happening.
I don't take a lot of trades at this time. I don't take a lot of trades in Asian session. I take some, but most of my trades I'm taking in early New York. So the move happens, especially on the 4-hour time frame. You can trade the Asian session, but you just have to be careful with like the euro and the GBP having a lot of crazy news come up. So
Yeah, because for New York, I see that the moves happen around 9. But for Asian, I've been looking at it, and the market also opened at 9 for New York, right? So I'm like, okay, so the market opens at 5 p.m., but I feel like the moves are happening at 8 p.m.
I think that people get stuck up on and kind of in their mind about what time the move happens. Already, we would both consider this to be a move, correct? This whole thing is a move, right? So this was July 22nd, and this was August 5th. So this is 2 weeks worth of every session a move is happening. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
if you train your mind to stop looking at what time the move happens and just go check the charts at what times you're available, this right here happened on June 20th, and it was still happening all the way up till July 4th. So again, you have 2 weeks worth of a move happening.
I think what he's talking about is trying to catch the breakout. And I think you were helpful in telling me what time the 4-hour candle paints, and it's only 6 times: 2, 6, and 10 a.m. and 2, 6, and 10 p.m.
Well, that's for your time. So if he's Eastern, it would be 5, 1, and 9.
Yeah, because he'll catch it
That's the part I don't
at
like.
any of those times.
That's the part I don't like.
Hey, Lloyd, I can't hear. Well, Lloyd, we can hear you. We don't know what you don't like, but we can hear you talking about it.
Okay, so Miss Jenny,
Yes, sir.
would you take a trade at 5 p.m. on the Asian session, or which time do you think it would be the best time?
I'm going to say again, super gently, like, I don't think there is a best time. I think trying to avoid the major red flag news. And if I come home from the gym and this is what I see, and it's 1 p.m. my time or 5 p.m. and my time zone is the same time as yours, or if it's 5 a.m. or if it's 9 p.m. and this is not a GBP or Euro pair, I would take this trade anyways. Because I see the setup and I'm happy with what I see. It matches all my rules.
Okay.
So you're looking for perfection, but here's what if I could just help you understand that, let's use this as an example. Not triple arrows, but just the daily dot. Here, I'll go to triple arrows. Make it a little easier. Okay. This right here has been trending down for a very long time. I'll close this out on the 4-hour chart. I'm going to come over. There we go. So let's say you check the chart at Monday night and it wasn't ready yet. Well, this is Tuesday morning. You could take it here, right? Let's say you weren't sure, it broke the 50 and now you're really thinking about it. You could take it here. Okay, let's say that Wednesday night rolls around or Thursday morning and we have new 4-hour dots, everything's lining up. You could take it here. You could re-enter anywhere that you see all those confirmations. You can take it 1,000 times in between here and here. And this is literally like 1,000 pips. There's not a perfect time to trade. There's not like a super more safe time to trade. Statistically, Mondays are the highest losing days in the entire market. But when they say Monday, they're talking about Asian time Monday, which is like our time. That's Sunday night till Monday afternoon. So that's not statistically a very great time to take a trade. But this is 1,000 pips with, I mean, no less than 50 opportunities to enter this trade.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been kind of like testing the Asian market in the, around the PM time, Toronto time, and I've been and on my demo, of course, and I've been noticing like around 8 o'clock. So I would take a trade like around 6, 7, because that's the perfect setup. And then around 8, it would make a move opposite direction, and it would take me out and then go back to normal.
Well,
That's why I was confused.
typically
I was
with
like,
Asian
does it
session,
open at 8?
no, it doesn't open ended. So it's not. Typically, if Asia pulls back, it follows trend in London. If it follows trend in Asia, typically it pulls back in London. That's why a lot of traders say just take a trade in early New York. So can you take a trade in early morning your time? Can you do that?
Yes.
So hunt for your trades on the evening time and then enter them in the early morning. And that will solve most of your problems. And number two, you'd have to have your stop loss a little bit probably bigger. Like you'd have to have it at the previous support for it to stop getting knocked out. So your stop loss may be a little bit too tight.
Okay.
Does that help a little?
Jenny, just a quick request. With your permission, I wanted to leave the chat room. I will come and listen to the recording a little later.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for all your answers and a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Ian, did you have a question?
Thank you.
You are welcome, Jeff. I'm glad I could help.
Hey, Jenny, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, quick question. I noticed on your screen you have all of the, I guess the support and resistance dots. Yeah, but some of the lines are longer than others. Is there a significance to that? Like, does it like infer that there's more strength there or anything like that?
That's a really good question. So this is not the right chart. I don't know why that one keeps coming up. Hold on. There we go. The yellow ones right here are set at daily, and these ones are set at 4-hour. Okay. These are the ones, the original ones. They were given out with the group. So this is the SuperEZ SR properties, right?
Okay.
If I go to this first chart, these white dots, which is what I was testing, this is version 3. And I don't think I like version 3 better. Because I think version 3 moves more. So like the yellow one stays more consistent. And I was testing it out a little bit because I was talking to Pat about it. I'll see if I can't pull up another chart for you guys to see, because I was kind of, I'm very, I don't know, I'm inquisitive. So I like to learn things and I like to expand my brain a little. So
Nothing wrong with that.
you see like right here,
Yes.
problem with the white dots are, the white dots will appeal, I don't know how to say this and I hope you guys can follow it for those of you who are a little bit more trading, but the white dots would like appear here, and then of course price would bust through them, and then it would still appear as support, which I think is ridiculous. And then when it does finally close below, it repaints. I'm not clear on this, so don't count my words.
Okay.
But that's kind of what I was seeing. And then I've had this up a couple of days now, and I'm not too fond of, I like the original ones better, is what I'm saying in layman's terms. They do paint less often, but they paint more stably.
Okay. So on my chart, I'm looking at just like red and green dots.
Okay, that's how we fix here.
So
That's it. This is how we fix that. Ready? So the reason why I have two sets of dots and you only have one is because I added that indicator twice. So I have the SuperEZ SR once, and then I have it twice. So one of the, I have it labeled as inputs day one.
okay.
Yellow. I trade off of that more than anything else. And then my next one is, it's probably similar to yours. Yours is purple, old, red, and green. Mine is green and purple, and this one is set off the 4 hour.
Okay, I got you. So we got daily dots and 4 hour dots.
Yes.
And, okay, all right, great. And my understanding is, forgive me, I'm relatively new to trading. So my understanding is that the higher time frame, those resistance areas are stronger than, let's say, like a 1 hour or 30-minute zones.
Yeah. Well, say that again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you said you trade off of the daily dots and that type of thing. And I often read you guys in the Telegram chat, chatting, basically talking about taking a trade off the dots, or the dots were there, that kind of thing. So I'm just trying to understand that and make sure I'm following.
Here's what. So yes, here's what I'll tell you. Everybody and their mama in the group today, they were trying to sell the euro odd, right?
Okay.
And look, in all fairness, it made a move, correct? It did make a move.
Okay.
Super fair about that. It did make a move. I don't know how many pips this was. Let's see. This was approximately 100 pips. That's pretty awesome. It had to make a big fall because of this huge candle we had over there. But here's the thing. Most of them didn't enter that trade until like right here, give or take. And what happened? So if they didn't have a trailing stop in or anything, price literally just shot right back up, and it shot up hard. So we didn't have, at this point, when people were trying to sell, at least not for me, I've gotten real good, guys, at being able to stick to my guns and say, hey, that's great for you. You guys can catch this little move. I just don't want a piece of it. Like, so for me, when I looked at it, I did not want to sell it. And the reason why was because right here, when everyone was selling, I still was above my 8 moving average. I still didn't have a confirmed on my ADX. I was not confirmed enough that this did not break the 50 on my RSI. This was not telling me to sell. When everyone was trying to sell, I was not ready to sell. So that's what I saw. So for me, when the daily dots have finally switched, that's like my, hey, look at me. And if these dots are still present in New York, and there's probably 2 more, give or take, and if it be below my 8, this will look like it's crossing, and this is lining up, then I'll be looking for a sell. But that keeps me from taking awful trades. So, like, I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, if I just stick to a few certain rules, I can consistently get results. But when I start trying to listen to everybody else, I stop getting results. So.
Yeah, that's been a challenge for me, because everyone, everyone that I've come across, and and even talking to you guys, everyone says they have their rules. So I've just been trying to figure out what my rules are, and as of yet, I don't think I have any, which is very can be very confusing for me as a trader, because then it's just like, all right, well, this looks good, let me try this. So I'm really trying to figure out what my style is. I've decided that I want to stay with like the 4-hour time frame. My trades right now are just a series of loss after loss after loss. And that's okay. I'm trading demo, so I don't mind, but I want to learn from my losses. So I'm trying to just, figure out what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it, and, and just, get it going right for myself. So,
Well,
yeah.
To be super loving and to be super kind, like I was that person, and I was super probably annoying, and I was super obnoxious. Most of us who can honestly say like why we lose and why you lost and why I lost is because we were gambling. We were trading off of the arrows, we were trading off of the ADX, we were trading off of Ichimoku, we were trading off of the cloud, we're doing 1,000 things, and none of them. It's like, here's the deal. If you follow, let's go to something kind of naked, kind of plain. Here we go, pretty naked, right?
Sure.
If you follow only this and nothing else, do you not realize that you would have like an 80% give or take? Granted, there are some skill, there's some timing, and if you set your stop loss right, there are other variables. But just this alone, so daily dots, 8 and 18 cross, ADX must line up, and the momentum has to be up here. That you'd have like an 80% accuracy, just this.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you talk to somebody who's like super losing all the time, it's because they're not doing any one thing. It's because they're doing everything.
Yeah. I think everything describes me. Yeah. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna have to like simplify this for myself and just come up with 2 or 3 rules and just start from there for myself.
Well, 2 or 3 is a little small. I'm not gonna fib. I would start with probably 5 or 6, but build yourself a template that says, hey, I like the RSI, or I like the MACD, or I like the TDI, or whatever your IC. Combine it with the triple arrows or the 4-hour daily dots. Combine it with, I don't know if you like the trend lines or like what your favorite moving averages are, but
yeah, I definitely like the moving averages. It's just a little easier for me to understand. Oh, when this crosses, okay, we're looking at a downtrend. Okay, so I like that for that reason.
Yes. So like if your eyes see certain things best, then create yourself a set of rules, and then here's your job, and this is the kicker. You have to consistently do that set of rules for like, I've been telling people 2 weeks because they get a little whiny when I say a month, but truthfully, you should be doing it for like a straight month and not be allowed to change anything. Now,
okay.
I would get a little whiny too because I'm very fast paced and I want what I want when I want it. But at least promise yourself that you're going to do it for 2 whole weeks without changing anything, and then say, okay, so when you go back and you analyze how those trades did, you'll be able to say, so on this trade, the ADX did cross, but it was still kind of not, it was doing this, right? Wasn't ready. Or on this one, I put my stop loss too tight, and you'll be able to see that, okay, the RSI was neither here nor there, or the this or that made a difference or it didn't make a difference. And then you can kind of tweak them to get yourself, just aim for high 80s. High 80s can change your life in terms of accuracy. Seriously, it'll be insane.
Okay, very nice. All right, I guess that's what I'm gonna do then, starting tonight.
Okay, and you have to promise you have to do it then.
Yeah, I promise.
Okay.
I promise. I look forward to in 2 weeks telling you I'm in the 80s.
Okay, I want to see it. So definitely tell me. I can't wait to get that message.
Thanks so much, Jen.
You are welcome. Thank you, iPhone and DJ. All right, guys, next question.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Avery, how's it going?
Going well. How are you doing this evening?
Wonderful. It's a beautiful day in Florida.
Good. So I have another question about your odd too, because I was one of those people in the crowd who was going to sell it this morning, but something told me not to, because I felt that there was going to be, because everybody was looking at selling it, I felt that there would have been a huge reversal before the sell happened. So I want to make note of this. I'm so sorry for you to have to repeat this again, but what were your rules that prevented you from selling it at that time? Because I was about to do it in the New York session around 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Well, no, so obviously you did right. I mean, you did well, and that's great when you have that gut instinct. But the kicker is to be able to know why. The problem is we can't follow our gut instincts. We have to follow reasons. And if it's not a sound, valid reason, like stuff we learned in college or in like philosophy class, it doesn't count. So my rules were this: so at 8 a.m. during like Pat's call and during that session, this is what I saw. Let's see. Sorry about that. I can't verify for sure, but it was somewhere in here, give or take, right? And we were making a move. We had 4-hour resistance, but first and foremost, at that time, we were against my daily dots. And I've gotten really good at not taking trades against the daily dots. We had a big arrow up here, but of course, one can repaint and it doesn't really stand yet. So we saw a pullback, but at that time, we had not broken a trend line, right? We didn't have any momentum. This would have been kind of scalping a pullback. Obviously, people did make some pips, but this is what I saw. They tell you pretty clearly, and I'll try to do it just in a general way. But we were still above, because keep in mind that didn't happen yet. We still were definitely well above the trend line. Like we didn't have some major trend line break, right? So I'm going to delete that. It was against my daily dots. Now look at all the oscillators. All the oscillators on my screen are still saying this is buying. This stayed above the 50. This looked like it was going to cross over, but we did not have a crossover, right?
Right.
It's a crossover, and this is a crossover. This still is not a crossover. It's looking like it's starting to, but not a clear one yet. At that time, we still had major momentum in terms of the buyers are in control, and it just wasn't ready. So I was not a fan of taking this trade. And I'm sure, I know people who made money here, but I've just gotten much better for my own personal reasons at taking the safe money, the stress-free money, because like I said, any of these Stairmaster trades they're solid because they're in the same direction. Any trade that you're going to take in the same direction, you're just better off with. But when you're trying to catch these pullbacks, and keep in mind our triple arrow system is a reversal trading system. It is a pullback system. So in order for me to have higher levels of accuracy, I had to create rules that said, hey, if it's not a tradition, like a bona fiable, I can prove that this is a trend reversal. I don't want to play the pullback. I want the reversal with the trend. So when it's actually reversing, it's going to break a trend line. It's going to do so with momentum. It's going to have a healthy pullback. And then, of course, everything will line up for a sell. And now I know I'm going in a downward sell for at least a pullback that's worth risking.
So I think I get what you're saying now. So basically, you don't try to get in on it while it's very, very fresh. You wait until the actual trend is established from the higher time frames, and then you delve in from it from there. So like you said, breaking the trend line, it being over the 8 moving average and things like that, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's correct.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, awesome.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Next question. Anybody at all?
Hey, Jenny, this is Ian. One more question.
Yes, sir.
Your moving averages, since I'm gonna make that part of my rules over the next 2 weeks. What do I know you like the 8 and the 50. What is that third one?
It's 18.
Okay. All right. So that's what I currently have. All right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Jenny.
How are you?
Okay. I was just wondering, the shaded area in the Fibos, the Fibonacci retracement, on the triple arrow system, is that the dead zone area?
I'm not super familiar with that term. My understanding is it is hold on, I know better. The shaded area on that particular,
It's
let's find it real quick so I can be accurate. I haven't even used that in forever. It's this one, right?
yeah. It comes with the triple arrow system. No, I don't think that's the one.
I think she's talking about the auto retrace.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that one. Let's find out though. So the shaded green area is like how much room it has to go until you have completed 100% retracement. So
It's at the top under AA.
thank you. Lord knows I always skip it 100 times. So you're talking about this green shaded area, right?
I think that's it right there. That's it. That's it.
So essentially, what this is telling you is there's 1,000 different ways to measure Fibonacci. There is definitely not one. There are probably more than 1,000. So what this little box is telling you is from this move to this move, that's where it's measuring. In order to get an entire 100% retracement, that's how many pips you have to go. So I don't know what you mean by the what'd you call it? What zone?
The dead zone. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's a dead zone. I think
I'm not sure.
then maybe a light zone. I don't know. Maybe it's a money zone. But
Well,
if price continues to push up, this shows you that price can come up to here before it makes 100% retracement.
you can take it off though, because I asked Pat about it, and he said I can take it off, and I did.
Yeah, I don't need it either. I agree.
Yeah. How do you get it to be vertical like that? Mine is horizontal.
Huh.
How do you get it to be vertical?
Wait a minute. So this right here on your chart is horizontal?
Yeah.
Huh.
Wait a minute. Do you mean take off the green part?
Yes, I can. You just go back to, you can take it
It's
off. Yeah, this green, take this one off. Yeah. No, the green one.
Watch this. I can go to show unretraced zone. So all that is the zone that hasn't retraced yet.
Right, and it takes it off. Yeah.
Right. But how do you get it to be vertical like that?
This?
Yeah, how did you get it just now to be vertical? On my chart is
horizontal.
It's like.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Send me a picture. Can you send me a picture? Or can you share your screen?
My internet is not that great. It keeps knocking out on me, like it freezes up and.
Well, how about this? I will commit to making sure I figure out why it's doing that. So you could have this. There are several different tools that will have actually like different kinds of Fibonacci. So here is one. There's a couple I don't really play with. But it could be something else that's on your screen, but this should not, in theory, be, it definitely should not be going the other way, because that's like not. I don't even know what would maybe cause it to be up, and it's not up and down. I'm pretty sure it's not up and down. Can you send me a picture?
Oh yeah, how
You can take a picture with your phone and send it in Telegram. You can do whatever works best for you.
Jenny, Catherine here.
Hey, Catherine.
Can I just ask, what time frame are you looking where there is the green zone becomes horizontal? Is it the same time frame as what Jenny's showing? Because I noticed that it's horizontal.
No, it's
smaller time frame.
It's 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think the smaller time frame sometimes it shows as horizontal because there's a lot more candles as compared to H4.
You're talking about the green zone being horizontal. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, no, your Fibonacci line shouldn't be up and down. Let's see.
No, it's not up and down, but it's horizontal.
Okay, so if it's 4.
It's 4 hour, you will see it as vertical because you have, but if it's 30 minutes, then you have more candles. So it looks wider because it's across multiple candles.
Is this what you were talking about? How the green box is wider?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All this is like how much of it did not retrace yet. So that's all.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Catherine, because I was like, you had me lost there for a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I was confused once, so I think I know what she's saying.
Gotcha. I was confused, so thank you. I appreciate your help. Okay, guys. Next question.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you. And thank you, Catherine. Let's see.
Thank you.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Quan, how's it going?
Going pretty good. I just want to go back to the the euro odd pair that you were just analyzing not too long ago.
Guys,
And
odd cat is a good trade right now.
yeah, I'm sorry, the euro odd. You was just talking about it as far as the reversal.
Let's go take a look. Okay.
And my question is, I saw this at the beginning of the week, and my issue was after it did a flat top break, I didn't catch the move, and the pair just kept going up and going up, and I'm wondering, okay, when do I get in? So how would you play the last leg of this pair that ran? Basically, you're looking at the last 4 or 5 candles that are green. You know, those last candles. How would you play that? The only thing I could think about is maybe a small scalp, getting in and out for maybe 2 or 3 pips. But I never felt comfortable as far as getting in because my ADX and my ADX was perfect, and also the absolute currency strength was perfect. But my ADR and everything else was fully maxed out. Like it had already done what it was going to do for the day.
Well, first off, we have to remember there's no such thing as maxed out, okay? Like, and I've been guilty of that. I know a lot of people are guilty of that. I'm still
right, and I see that, and I looked at the previous daily support and resistance dots, and it had blown past that, and it looked like the next set of dots was maybe another 200 or 300 pips away. So it had a lot of room to keep pushing forward. And
so not that I can say I did that, but here's what you would do. You see how we broke this higher high and fractals come in really good here. So we're making higher highs. This one's a little tricky because it's a doji and it would definitely throw you off. But if you drop down, euro was definitely still stronger. You know, AUD was definitely still weaker. We definitely had momentum and a lot of power on our MACD. Basically, I would do. So now I'm going to go to a different setup. Again, I would have confluence that, hey, we're making higher highs. So I know I could buy it. But if you want to know how much you can buy it, the best way to do that would be to go to a naked chart, super naked, and let's see.
This I have to go to the daily, I believe, too.
Yeah, that's still making higher highs.
Yeah.
This is a strongly trending market, you guys.
Right, and there's that tip right there.
The next zone that we have, and here we'll make it really easy to read for all of us who are learning. So I just turned this to a line chart. It makes it, that took off that wick too though. There is literally nothing in our way from going way up. Nothing.
Right.
Our next resistance, according to like the line chart mentality. Let's see. You see this peak right here? This was the previous peak. See how it's kind of lined up? Do you see it on the chart right there?
Yes.
Okay. So that would count. Other than that, we'd have right here. So just for giggles, I'm going to go ahead and put one right here. That was the last part where it really turned around. These are the zones that we could be looking for. Again, nothing's written in stone. But if you want to know how far you can take this trade, and it doesn't mean you're not going to face a pullback, because with trend trading and zone trading, you're almost always going to face a pullback. Now, of these 3 lines I drew, this one is the strongest. We have a touch here, rejection here, rejection here. Okay, this is by far the strongest. These ones just kind of tickled in that area. This would be the second strongest. This is the third. And now let's go back to the candle chart. You'll notice we also kind of rejected there. So this is a highly trending market. Now, granted, when none of us are trading on this level, and that's okay. Well, not that I know of. So even if we pulled back, for instance, that's a pretty big pullback. That's 400 or 500 pips, give or take. This is still trending up according to the higher time frames. So we have plenty of room to go up, even if it pulls back. So just to give you an idea of where this is going to go. Granted, that's too big of a trade for us to be really trying to take it for. But when I saw it break that higher high, what I wanted to show you was this.
Mhm.
Let's go to, there we go. Whatever, stop it, silly button, there we go. It probably won't even show up because it's so big. But when I saw it break that higher high, I would have came to a naked chart. If I still couldn't make a decision, I would have came to a naked chart and saw when the next spot of resistance is going to be. And bear in mind, we broke that here. So this is where we would have broke it, or around the time that I would be looking at the chart. And from there, if I wanted to catch any of this 100 pips, I would know I can get 50 pips out of it because the next real zone isn't until here. So I would know that I'm pretty safe. Not always guaranteed, but we made a higher high. We're still pushing up. All my indicators are saying go. And this right here is, you know, I have plenty of room to catch even a small portion of that. Does that help at all?
Absolutely. Yep. You know, I was ready to jump rope, but just didn't know when to jump in.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah, no, I
Thank you.
get it.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, next question.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Thackeray, right?
Just DJ is fine.
Okay.
So you said Audi CAD was a good buy, and I see that it does have triple arrows on the 4 hour pointing up. So you would jump in that trade for a swing trade right now, or would you wait for other confirmations?
I like this trade. Well, so I'm right now, you can see it's wicking at the top, and I don't quite have my 8 and 18 cross, but here's what I do see, right? So of my confirmations, when you guys stick to a set of rules, there's a lot less questions, there's a lot less drama. And then it doesn't have to be like Jenny's opinion or DJ's thought process or, you know, what your neighbor's mood is in, you know? There's nothing to second guess. So according to my rules, on this template, for example, I'd have 1, 2 confirmations, 3, momentum is up, 4, the volume is up. Sorry, yeah, this one's volume, this one's momentum. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Daily dots, I like to see 4 of them, so that one doesn't count at this point. I need above the 8. My triple arrows would be 9, 10, whatever, and of course my little crossover. So it's almost ready. It's not quite ready, but yes, I would take this as a buy. But you see this like engulfing candle?
Yes.
So right now we're getting real close to testing the 50% of that, right? And a lot of times when you see an engulfing candle like this, price comes back to test 50% before it drops hard. And I'm not thinking that's what this is going to do, but we want to be sure that it's what it's not going to do. So I don't think that's going to happen. I really like this trade. It's late tonight. There's a good chance I would take this trade on a small position and then enter heavy in the morning, like 20, 30% per trade heavy. That's how I would trade this pair. Because I'm not confident that I'm going to get $1 million. I'm just confident that from where price is now, give or take, I can get 100 pips. I can safely, without frustrating, without stressing, without anything at all, I'm pretty confident I can get 100 pips. And if it keeps going on my runner, great, but my runner is not my money maker. My runner just kind of helps balance out losses and those funky trades where it kind of came close to my break even. The runners only balance my account. It's the winners that really make the money. It's the ones where a take profit is actively set. So I'm just confident I can get it. Because worst case scenario, if this makes a head and shoulders, right, that would be a really steep head, and it comes back up to here to make a neckline. In my opinion, if it keeps going up, worst case scenario, I can get a 50 pip take profit before I even get a pullback. That's my best guess, give or take. I mean, there's spreads and other factors, but that's what I see when I look at this pair.
I didn't realize, I mean, I knew the rule about price retracing back to the 50%, around the 50% mark of the engulfing candle, but I didn't realize that counted so far away from the initial engulfing candle. I thought it was going to happen like, you know, the next 3 candles after that occurred.
Well, no, because look up here. So, oopsie. When you're looking at price and you're drawing up like support and resistance, when you're looking up price action, typically what you're doing is you're looking for the previous most powerful engulfing candle. So this would be the previous most powerful engulfing candle until it is broken. So, right, so this one has never been, it never got retested. So it's not invalid yet. Does that make sense? It never got retested and then like price continued to move past it. and it never got retested to 50% of it. So I don't know if that's like a cold hard fact, or I could definitely be wrong. I'm just another person. So, but the way I was taught to read them, if I'm not mistaken, is this is still valid because price never broke above it to make it invalid, or retested it, right, to prove that it was the downward trend we think it is. So two things haven't happened. And then the third thing that hasn't happened, we haven't formed another huge engulfing candle that's larger than this one. So those three things haven't happened yet to make this an invalid thing yet. Does that?
Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, you treat it like a gap.
Oh man, gaps got me in trouble. I guess no. I don't know. I don't want to answer that and teach you wrong. So let's scroll back and let's not look at this one. Let's pick a different one. So let's see. This has a wick, but it's engulfing, right? It's a powerful candle. So price came back down to 50% of it, but then it broke it, so now it's no longer valid, right? But up till here, this is still the strongest previous candle. So if I were to draw support and resistance, if I were to draw supply and demand zones, this is the candle I'd be using. Now I'm going to keep going. Again, this is a little choppy, so this is super unfair, but it is what it is. So here's my kind of engulfing candle, my railroad at the top, but price broke it, so it's in terms of like counting it for the 50% retracement, it's invalid because price now has broken above it. Now we have here is the strongest candle. Price did come back to the 50, but it broke above it. You see what I'm saying? So price is already broken above it. Okay, but if I were for charting purposes and I was looking for the previous, for charting purposes, I was looking for the previous largest candle, would be this one up until from what's on the screen. So again, continuing to the left, like that's how I was taught. Not to say there's not 1,000 other ways, that's just my understanding of what has worked for me. Like for, again, there's so much information, guys. There's not, I don't think there's any solid like one way to do things. I just think it makes sense to me. Here's one, price came back down, but again, it broke below it. This is a buy candle, it broke below it. So this is, for charting purposes, this is one I would use. However, it's invalid in terms of that whole 50% retracement because it's been retested. This one has not been invalidated by any of the three methods I would use to make it invalid. So it still stands.
And one more thing while we're on this pair still. So I know you said one of your least favorite pairs is Audi NZD because the currencies are so closely related. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. When the NZD has major news coming out, would it be a good idea to avoid Aussie pairs as well until that news passes?
Typically, yeah, because it's so weird how they move, and I am not the expert on that. I know they're super correlated, and I don't know how. And I've done some reading and got no answers. So I don't know why that is, but yes, definitely watch your odd trades when New Zealand has news. Definitely watch your New Zealand trades when odd has news. Yes.
I mean, when New Zealand has news. Oh, okay. That's what you're saying. All right. Thank you. I appreciate
it. Yeah, no problem.
So, Jenny, this is Stellan.
Hey, Stellan.
You mentioned on this particular pair right here, the one thing you're looking at is that the 8 has not crossed the 18 yet. So you said you would come back and check that. When do you come back? On the next 4-hour candle?
Well, I'm not getting up at 1 o'clock because I think I look much prettier when I get some sleep. So I just can't be as on me. So if I'm up at 5, the children aren't quite back in school yet, so my schedule's a little erratic still. But if I'm usually up by 5 a.m. or I'll definitely have looked at it before the 9 a.m. candle. I'm definitely up by then. But I'll either catch this next candle or the one after that. And because this is the 4-hour chart, guys, I'm not in some desperate hurry. Because even if I missed a couple of these candles, I got a huge move coming. Even if I missed a couple of these candles, I got a huge move coming. And odds are, see how this is wicking right now? It's going to drop a little bit. I don't know what this news coming out in 15 minutes. New Zealand has news in a couple minutes, so we'll see what that does. But either way, the odds are this is going to pull back anyways. And if it does take off, I'll catch the pullback before it keeps going. If it doesn't take off, I'll get a slightly better entry than right now anyways. But either way, I'm going to get a confirmed entry that matches my consistent rules. This is about patience. We all want to jump in and then we can't explain why we lost. We convince ourselves it lined up when the truth is, if we're being analytical and we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this does not meet 9 out of 10, I cannot take this trade. It does not matter what anybody else says, I'm gonna wait. Sometimes you're gonna miss this powerful move and you're like, oh man, I missed all the pips. It's not fair. We all do it. I do it too. I'm guilty. But even if I miss this huge move, price comes back to, you know, some of it didn't come back enough on this one. Kind of close though, guys. Kind of close. And then it dropped again. So I'm comfortable catching the really confirmed move rather than chasing what could be a pullback. But, you know, it could only be a pullback versus a reversal.
Well, I think I have to, like another person said, I'm looking at too many indicators. So I think I need to take some of them off and
well, let's check out this chart, guys. This chart alone has a ton of indicators. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, this has 9. Plus, if you do a trend line and a engulfing candle, that's 11. I mean, so this chart alone has between 11 and whatever, in, you know, pieces of evidence, and this one has a lot. Like, it has a lot, but it's one of the most accurate ones. I mean, I like it, and the same thing with the triple arrow system. It kind of has a lot, but it's very accurate. Now it's a matter of take off what you don't need, follow a system, follow the rules long enough to know if it works or not.
Yes.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. That's what I need to do.
You are welcome. Hey guys, so tomorrow morning I might I don't know yet for sure, but I might tell you what trades I'm entering. There's a good chance I'm going to be entering or looking for quite a few trades. As you guys can see, we're getting finally some movement on the GBP pair. Doesn't mean it's a forever move. It just means like GBP CAD made a nice move today. A really nice one. I'll pull that up. It just means that we definitely have some momentum finally coming. As you guys can see, we're above the 50 line on the MACD now. We definitely have some indication that this is finally starting to move. Let's forget these darn white dots. I don't know, I don't care for them. I'm still playing with them. Delete all selected. Not letting me delete. There we go. Okay, we have some nice moves coming up. So this is definitely got a pullback. Worst case scenario, I can definitely see this coming to here. This is just a demo account, but probably can get a good 70 pips out of it on the safe side. If it's not a complete trend reversal, like to where it's actually going to start trending up now for 1,000 pips, I definitely can see a safe 70 pips. We have a confirmed move in that direction. And whoever was asking about those daily dots, this is what I was talking about, that version 3 dots. Is that person still on the phone? Was that Dorian? Well, anyways, see how these dots are here and they busted through? That's my problem with that indicator. I don't like the way that works. And they didn't move either. They didn't adjust. So I'm not a fan. I like my yellow ones, my original version. I didn't realize how different they were until I actually started playing with both at the same time. So, but like I was saying, odd is obviously super, super weak. Doesn't mean forever. We're hoping that the odd kind of strengthens a little bit. My moving averages are set at 8, 18, and 50. CAD has dropped insanely, insanely. So we want that to kind of continue. You are welcome, Justin. Let's take a look at.
Ms. Jenny?
Yes, sir.
Hi, can I'd like to just suggest something that helped me out last week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so what was happening is I was hearing a lot of different method, and I was trying to figure out which one to go for. I was hearing the daily dots, the swing trades, now or later. There was different method, and when I go to the group, people was posting different stuff. So what I did is I realized I'm super creative. So that means I could hear something and I still want to twist it, and I just want to do my own thing. So what I did is I had a bunch of different, I opened up a bunch of different brokers, a demo of course, and I just put all of these ideas to test throughout for 2 weeks to see which one would make me the most money. And I ended up finding the best one. So
Which one was it?
That is the triple arrows after the 50 and following the ADX and the currency strength.
Okay, so that's Jenny for the win, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
And also one thing I realized about me too is like I'm super impatient. So I was trying to do the daily, and I was also trying to do the 4 hour because I like the 4 hour, right? Because the 4 hour just looks really it just looks good, and I like it, and I really want to do it. But I realized that I'm very impatient, so the 1 hour is best for me. So that's why I noticed like it's better for whoever, like the person, to go for what they get attracted to, but still following the triple arrows and following the mentors, but gonna go for what you can see. And if you're impatient, like find a time frame or a method that would work for you. Because I tried the flip-flop method, it was just too fast for me. Like I just couldn't get it. So I find a balance.
Well, that's awesome. That's exactly it, guys. Like, you still have to follow your rules, and it's not like mine or yours or the guy next door's. No one's is going to be necessarily better or worse. But I'm just big on the, hey, if Jeff, this is what's going to work for you. Like the triple arrows, yes, you follow the 50. I don't care what time frame you're using. At least do that much because you'll be pretty safe if you do. And just stay consistent with it. You'll be surprised how much of a difference you can make. And all those, there's a lot of great ideas for us, those of us who are like more at a different level. It's cool to learn about some of the different things in the group. But if you're just learning, pick one or two and then shut everything else out until you've perfected that. Until you've achieved that 70% minimum in terms of accuracy, you should not be learning anything new. You've got to perfect that until you get 70%.
Yeah, and one thing I did too, I tested the same method on the 4 hour as well, but on a different broker demo account. So I separate everything. Just every ideas that I have, I put it on a different account, just so I can still follow a set of rules while I'm still being creative.
Well, that's perfect. That's what I did actually too. I did a demo account.
Yeah.
Was I literally labeled them with different strategies and different tools and different what I was doing, even different EAs and different robots, and I tracked them on my FX books to see what was working and what wasn't working. Because I needed our brain fibs to us sometimes, our emotions fib to us. So you're doing great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and also, yeah, and I had access to you guys. So I kind of use that too to my advantage. So I ask questions and things like that. So that also helps.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting somewhere. That's exactly what we want it to be. So can't wait to see your results grow.
Great, thank you. I hope that could help someone.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. All right, guys, any other questions tonight? Anything pertinent? Let's see. Gold is still going up. It's crazy. Anybody at all? Otherwise, I am going to hop off. And then maybe tomorrow morning when I actually look at some of these trades, I want you guys to see them, so I'll post some screenshots. But you're just looking for the confirmed move, and most of this stuff isn't going to super line up. GBP is lining up a little bit tonight, but most of it's not going to line up until tomorrow morning. So we'll get to really see what's happening at that point. So awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I can read your chats. I love you guys. You're the best. So I'm going to hop off. We've got some really exciting announcements coming with Pat. He's got a couple things he's working on behind the scenes, and we've got all the details in terms of the $1 Million Challenge and how we're going to structure it and what we're going to do. And I think you guys are going to be quite impressed. It's going to be important to follow some massive rules and be able to follow instructions, but there's no reason you should not have grown an account to 6 figures, within a few months, depending on what your amount you're starting with and what your leverage is, and following some rules. So I look forward to talking to you tomorrow night. Have a great night, and God bless.
God bless Jenny and God bless everyone.
Thank you, Jenny.
Great class.
Have a good night, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. Good night.
You're welcome. Sweet dreams, guys.